What if the reason your life hasn't fundamentally transformed isn't a lack of effort in your thinking, but rather a profound disconnect from your true emotional state? This isn't merely an exaggeration, it's a foundational truth, explaining why so many individuals find themselves perpetually stuck in their journey of manifesting desired realities, or consciously shifting their life's timelines. You've undoubtedly been told, again and again, that if you repeat affirmations long enough, if you visualize strongly enough, or if you simply collect enough knowledge and techniques, then one day life will have to change. Yet, the quantum field, a concept in physics often used metaphorically to describe the underlying energetic fabric of the universe and its inherent responsiveness, doesn't respond to what you merely say or what you intellectually know. Instead, it reacts solely to the coherent signal emitted by your nervous system, by the dominant emotions that genuinely permeate you, and by the subtle yet powerful inner atmosphere you carry each day. This energetic signature is your constant broadcast. A thought devoid of genuine feeling is much like a radio signal, attempting to broadcast without any electricity whatsoever. It exists as an intention, but it carries no current, no potent force, and therefore, no real impact. You could dedicate years to reading about wealth strategies, repeating mantras of success, or fervently praying for love. However, if your physical body is still internally rehearsing and embodying emotions of fear, doubt, lack, or profound unworthiness, then the quantum field will unmistakably perceive that as your truth. In this vibrational reality, what truly matters is not the intellectual concept of abundance, but the actual, palpable vibration of abundance deeply embodied within you. It's not about intellectually thinking you are free, but rather your entire nervous system, feeling the deep safety and expansive freedom in every cell. Right now, the trap of relying purely on thought is incredibly seductive because the mind, by its very nature, always craves control. It persistently believes that if it only understands enough, the world will inevitably bend to its will. This cognitive bias often prevents deeper self-awareness. You are actively shifting your point of observation into a completely new channel, redirecting the flow of energy. Your body then begins to synchronize with a different emotional map, a new blueprint for being. You don't necessarily need complex visualizations. Often, it's enough to simply sense the physical posture and the biological rhythm of the version you choose to embody. The calm self, for instance, naturally breathes slower and more evenly. The confident self subtly opens the chest wider, projecting an aura of assurance. The abundant self grounds itself into the bed more peacefully, feeling secure and connected. When you choose to feel the body, tuning into its subtle sensations rather than engaging in arguments with your racing thoughts, you effectively pull your nervous system away from its old, habitual orbit. This act alone initiates a new collapse, bringing forth a different reality. The very essence of your power lies in realizing that you are simultaneously the observer and the observed, the cause and the result, all within the same interconnected system. This physiological memory acts as an internal anchor, and because the body, in its primitive wisdom, cannot intrinsically distinguish between a stored memory and an active present reality, it continuously broadcasts that ingrained signal as if the past event were still vividly happening. This internal broadcast becomes your unique vibrational address, your energetic signature, and life, functioning as a perfect and impartial mirror, consistently returns experiences that precisely confirm what your body is already deeply feeling. The fundamental mistake isn't a lack of conscious desire. The core mistake is an unconscious loyalty to the wrong emotional frequency. You may consciously desire profound love, but if your body fundamentally feels rejection, you may yearn for significant wealth, but your body is consumed by the pervasive fear of loss. You may dream of absolute freedom, but your body feels imprisoned. The quantum field, impartial and indifferent to our intellectual preferences, reflects what is dominant within you. not merely what you intellectually idealize. This is precisely why reality often feels so stubbornly fixed, why negative loops frustratingly keep repeating, and why breakthroughs always seem to fade away. Until your dominant feeling genuinely changes, your vibrational signal remains tragically unchanged. Here lies a fundamental and often overlooked truth. Mere intellectual knowledge does not create profound transformation. Coherence does. Coherence signifies the powerful moment when your thought and feeling finally speak the same, unified language. It's when your head no longer chants, "I am wealthy," while your gut simultaneously whispers, "I am not safe." It's when your mouth no longer repeats, "I trust the universe," while your body still trembles with a foundational doubt. True coherence emerges when thought and feeling completely merge into one seamless, powerful vibration. The external event itself may remain the same, but you have fundamentally changed the driver of your response and your experience. Quantum superposition does not demand one choice forever. Instead, it graciously grants you the right to choose many times within one day, 1 hour, even within a single conversation. Each deliberate choice acts like a button, switching channels to a new frequency. Each conscious return to your breath is a powerful recalibration of your internal state. It is the consistent emotional baseline you inevitably return to when no one else is watching, when you are simply being. That deeply ingrained baseline is the precise frequency the quantum field faithfully reflects. If you truly want to understand why your life feels perpetually stuck, the answer is unequivocally here. You are thinking of a desired future while emotionally dwelling in the past. You are consciously declaring new intentions while unconsciously carrying the weight of old, unhealed wounds. You are mentally rehearsing abundance in your mind while emotionally vibrating with an underlying sense of lack. And the quantum field, indifferent to your spoken words and loyal only to your actual energetic frequency, keeps faithfully repeating the past because that is what you are truly holding and broadcasting within. This exposes the subtle deception often embedded within the popular idea of manifestation. People are frequently told that if you know enough, repeat enough, or think positively enough, reality will magically obey. But the quantum field does not obey intellectual knowledge. It obeys energetic resonance. The specific timeline you ultimately enter is not chosen by what you merely hope for, but by what you feel is genuinely real within your being. Emotion is far more than a simple reaction. It acts as a powerful, direct command. It is the fundamental key that either opens or closes the door to an infinite spectrum of possibility. Whichever version you choose to embody, your entire energetic field broadcasts that specific frequency, and the corresponding reality then naturally gathers around you. Habits are not formed by grand, sweeping decisions, but rather by countless micro-choices made throughout the day. So, just one day, consciously filled with aligned micro-choices, already begins to shift your trajectory onto a completely new map of possibilities. The core secret lies not in wishful affirmations, but in the subtle, yet powerful language you use inside yourself, through your posture and your breath. When the body changes its physical state, the signals sent back to the brain change dramatically. The emotional circuit recalibrates its scale, and your thoughts naturally begin to straighten and clarify themselves. You do not need to force positive thinking. Instead, you create the biological conditions within your body for clear thinking to spontaneously arise on its own. That is the precise, sustainable, and powerful path to transformation. That an affirmation without full embodiment is ultimately empty. That visualization, without a matching vibration, is merely a fleeting shadow. The quantum field is not moved by your conscious desires. It responds only to your current emotional state. And your state, in this profound context, is primarily defined by your prevailing emotions. Until you fully accept this foundational truth, you will inevitably repeat the old, frustrating loop, thinking more, hoping longer, while your external reality keeps mirroring the same, unchanging script. The invitation of this part is to stop fruitlessly chasing reality with your intellect. and begin consciously leading reality with your attuned body. To stop postponing genuine feeling until external proof finally arrives, and instead, begin actively cultivating the feeling that will powerfully create that proof. To stop waiting for the mirror to change before you allow yourself to smile, and instead begin smiling until the mirror has no other choice but to reflect it back. This is not about pretense or fostering an illusion, but rather an intentional design, a profound blueprint. This is precisely how potential collapses into tangible form, into matter. And you are the intricate interface, the living bridge between abstract thought and manifest matter. Every single cell, every conscious breath, every consistent heartbeat within you is constantly broadcasting a unique signal. Only one crucial question truly remains. Which energetic station are you consistently tuned to? If you see this truth with absolute clarity, you will immediately stop asking why nothing changes, and you will profoundly understand that the signal has always been transparent. Reality is unequivocally loyal only to what you feel, and the precise moment you genuinely change that feeling, the entire quantum field must rearrange itself in response to your new internal signal. That is the true genesis of transformation. That is where the doorway of new possibilities authentically opens. That is the first, essential key. Emotion is the innate language the quantum field intimately understands and responds to. You may possess an entire library of intellectual knowledge. You may have meticulously read every book on self-development. You may even memorize hundreds of affirmations. Your body is the foundational instrument, and every single day is a sacred experiment where you have the profound privilege of witnessing reality unfold precisely according to the frequency you have chosen for yourself. Step into today as one who remembers, no longer desperately searching for a miracle outside, but walking as the miracle already present within you, manifesting in every breath, every step, and every conscious gaze. A thought without emotion is like a flame that is never actually lit. It remains mere potential, unactivated energy. Yet, when that thought is deeply infused with the vibrant fire of genuine feeling, it transforms completely. It becomes radiant light. It becomes a clear, resonant signal. It becomes an undeniable call sent out across the entire universe, waiting for its perfect echo. What truly matters is not what you intellectually know, but what you profoundly feel within your being. It's not simply that you say you want love. It's that your body genuinely vibrates in the profound safety, comforting warmth, and unwavering recognition of being cherished and connected. It's not that you think you are wealthy. It's that your heart deeply relaxes into the expansive fullness and inherent ease of true abundance, a feeling of sufficiency. The quantum field holds no concern for the slogans you might repeat in the morning. It listens only to the precise frequency you consistently broadcast in every passing moment. This is the process of quantum collapse, happening so quickly, so automatically, that you often fail to even notice it. You awaken in a state of quantum superposition, a field of infinite potential, but within mere seconds, you observe yourself as the old identity, the one carrying yesterday's burdens and tomorrow's worries. And just like that, reality folds back into its usual, predictable pattern. That loop repeats itself like a familiar song your brain knows by heart. This is precisely why many individuals fall into the pervasive trap of internal contradiction, a common human struggle. Their mouth confidently articulates, "I trust," yet deep within, they tremble with an underlying current of fear, a physiological response. Their head intellectually asserts, "I am ready," but their body simultaneously freezes in a posture of self-defense or hesitation. That is not genuine coherence. That is an internal conflict, a battle of energies. And the quantum field does not respond to eloquently articulated words or noble intentions. It responds to the strongest signal, which, unfortunately, most often stems from the deeply ingrained fears and doubts buried within the subconscious mind and body. To genuinely transform reality, you don't necessarily need more complex techniques or intricate strategies. What you urgently need is profound alignment, a harmonious synergy between your thoughts and your feelings. This is where true mastery begins. You have touched layers of consciousness that have always existed around you, but until now, lay beyond your ability to perceive or receive. Science is increasingly exploring these realms through fields like quantum entanglement and the study of consciousness, bridging the gap between ancient wisdom and modern inquiry. When you begin to think of yourself as tired, as anxious, or as struggling, reality collapses into that corresponding state. You engage in this process every day without fully realizing it, not just once, but hundreds of times. Every familiar thought you entertain, every repeated emotion you experience, is a deliberate collapse into a specific version of yourself. And the astonishing thing is that all of this often happens before you even get to make a conscious choice. Your body has already chosen for you because it remembers. It is fiercely loyal to the old pattern. But now, you sense countless other colors were always there. Only your eyes and mind were not yet ready to perceive them. You realize you are not confined to just one possibility, not trapped within a single, predetermined script. You stand before an endless, intricate network, where every choice, every potential outcome, already exists in the field of all possibilities. And because of this profound shift, when your consciousness touches these deeper layers, synchronicities begin to appear in an accelerating sequence. It has pre-programmed the very feeling that the mind will subsequently follow. When you deeply understand this fundamental mechanism, you finally begin to see why change often feels so incredibly difficult. You are not only facing entrenched mental habits, but also profound biological memory. Thousands of cells that remember how you have lived, how you have feared, and how you have reacted, and they are often more loyal to that memory than your conscious intentions are. You cannot convincingly say you are in love if your heart still feels profoundly abandoned or fearful of intimacy. You cannot truthfully declare yourself abundant if your body remains tight with an underlying, pervasive fear of tomorrow's uncertainties. Your body is the loudest speaker you possess, and it simply does not lie about your true emotional state. What you truly need is an unwavering loyalty to a new, consciously chosen feeling. A feeling that precisely matches the desired timeline you consciously wish to inhabit. It attempts to make you doubt, whispering that all of this is an illusion, that you are merely imagining things. It pulls you back into the familiar, narrow confines of logic, attempting to make you feel safe in the old, predictable reality. But the truth is, these signals are becoming clearer, stronger, and you can feel their undeniable power when you truly begin to observe them. When you acknowledge their existence, they grow more potent. When you honor them as genuine guidance, they direct you with increasing precision and confidence. That meticulously chosen code acts as the ultimate key that unlocks the door to a multitude of corresponding possibilities. The more consistently you repeat that empowering code, the more profoundly your body internalizes and remembers it, until it becomes your new, natural emotional home, a new default state. Never underestimate the profound, transformative power of emotion. It meticulously shapes not only your inner state, but also the specific situations you encounter, the individuals you meet, and the opportunities that spontaneously appear in your life. Emotion serves as the vibrational map that unerringly guides you to the timeline that precisely matches your inner frequency. Take a discerning look at your current reality. It doesn't primarily reflect what you intellectually want. It faithfully reflects what you have been feeling consistently over an extended period. If your life feels pervasively stressful, it's not because you lack the perfect method or strategy, but because stress has subtly become the unconscious dominant language you transmit every single day. If you repeatedly find yourself caught in cycles of failure, it's not because the universe is maliciously against you or that you are unlucky, but because you are still broadcasting signals of underlying fear and persistent doubt. And the universe, operating with unwavering loyalty and impartiality, reflects only what you consistently broadcast. The real, penetrating question is not, what do I want? But rather, what do I truly feel? From the honest answer to that question, you instantly comprehend which timeline you are currently standing on. To genuinely change your external circumstances, you must change the internal feeling, because feeling is the fundamental code, the silent, potent prayer, the unmistakable frequency the quantum field always hears. This isn't just comforting advice or a philosophical concept. It's the core, intricate mechanism of reality itself, a verifiable principle. You don't need more external evidence. You need to change the internal code your body is perpetually sending. Once you deeply understand this, you will cease chasing complicated, external methods, and instead focus intently on simply maintaining the chosen emotional state. And then, reality stops being something you desperately pursue. It automatically becomes something that perfectly reflects your refined signal. Emotion is not a mere byproduct of life. It is the fundamental lever that actively creates it. It is the most primal, profound, and universally understood language in existence. Each conscious pause weakens the gravitational pull of the former self, much like a pendulum losing momentum until it eventually comes to rest, allowing you to set a completely new direction. The lure of old patterns and collapse cannot be entirely erased, but it can be powerfully redirected, and the inherent right to redirect it has always been, and will always be, yours. You can allow it to unfold unconsciously, driven by old programming, or you can transform it into a powerful ritual of awakening, where every morning is no longer the start of repetition, but a sacred experiment where you consciously choose who to become, what energy to emit, and what reality to observe into existence. Your body is not just a physical mass. It is a living archive, a complex library of every chemical memory that has ever passed through your life. Every emotion, every fear, every joy, every disappointment has left a subtle, yet profound imprint in your biological structure. And that stronger signal almost invariably emanates from the deep-seated emotions already ingrained and consistently practiced within your body. Coherence is not a vague or abstract idea. It is a very tangible, measurable state where your head and your heart, your thoughts and your feelings move in perfect, synchronized rhythm. It's when your mind no longer declares, "I am abundant," while your stomach simultaneously twists with anxiety and fear. It's when your mouth no longer repeats, "I trust," while your physical body still trembles with underlying doubt or hesitation. When you declare, "I want to change," your conscious mind may readily agree, but your body, with its deep-seated memories, often does not. It is not yet convinced. It still subtly demands its old dose of hormones, the familiar waves of adrenaline, cortisol, and even dopamine associated with old patterns. The body, in its ancient wisdom, believes that safety equates to familiarity. So, even if that familiar pattern causes you pain or limitation, it clings to it because, to the body, familiar still equals survival. This is the turning point when you understand that reality is no longer a chaotic collection of random events, but rather a meticulously composed piece of music. And you, in this moment, have just begun to hear the hidden melody behind each note, a resonance your ears could not catch before, but now sounds clearly and beautifully. From that moment, you can no longer pretend. You cannot go back to believing life is random or disconnected. You must admit, openly, that everything inside and outside you is intrinsically linked and mirrors each other with perfect fidelity. And when you fully accept this profound truth, you no longer feel small or insignificant. You begin to see that your inner state is the ultimate key, that what you think and feel quickly reflects outward, like looking into an endless, perfectly honest mirror. This is not a mere promise of what might be, but the undeniable experience you are living right now. Because the more you observe, the more you clearly see that a fleeting thought can, with surprising speed, lead to a concrete event. A feeling you nurture consistently and intentionally can either open or close a significant door in the external world of circumstances. And gradually, you understand, you are not only a witness to reality, but the master scriptwriter, both actor and director. And the stage is this entire world. Remember those times you hesitated, and then suddenly, as if by magic, met precisely the right person with exactly the right advice. Remember those days you were filled with an unshakable sense of trust and openness, and opportunities seemed to appear out of nowhere? That is not a trick of fate. Neurons reconnect, creating a fresh, optimized network for new emotions and responses. The essential prerequisite is that you must stay committed through the inherent discomfort of this transformation, without running back to the familiar when your body predictably resists. Discomfort in this context is not a sign of failure. It is, in fact, undeniable proof that your system is actively leaving its old comfort zone and undergoing profound change. Observe what arises during this period. A faster heartbeat, shorter breath, persistent thoughts urging you to give up. All are echoes of old patterns, calling you back to what is known. When you face them without reacting to them, the body gradually learns that safety can indeed exist even without those familiar chemicals. You are actively teaching your biology to be calm and grounded even in uncertainty, and that, truly, is where genuine freedom begins. Most people unfortunately never pass through this critical doorway because they mistakenly interpret discomfort as failure. They don't realize it is the very physical expression of deep transformation taking place. Consequently, they return to old patterns to regain a familiar feeling, and they call this stability when it is merely unconscious repetition. To break this loop definitively, you must consistently give your body a new experience. Repeat it enough times that it recognizes this new state as its true home. And the simplest, most direct way to achieve that is through conscious breath. When you breathe deeply, steadily, and consciously, you send clear, reassuring signals to your nervous system that there is no immediate threat. The body lowers its alert status, stress hormones change their output, and a vital door opens for a new, higher state of being to enter. The body responds faster and more directly than the mind. So, do not attempt to think positively while breathing like someone consumed by fear. Begin by breathing like someone who is inherently peaceful, and the mind will naturally follow suit. See each day as a dedicated practice session, each uncomfortable emotion as a valuable chance to reset your internal state. There's no need to analyze or rehash the past. Simply stay present, observe your biological response, and gently adjust your breath. Do this consistently and long enough, and your chemical memory will begin to fundamentally shift. Because when you bring the clear light of your awareness to an old program, an old limiting belief, it begins to dissolve, just as darkness disappears instantly when light enters a room. No struggle is needed, only your consistent presence. This is the stage when you understand, unequivocally, that you are not passive, you are an active co-creator. That life is no longer a string of random, disconnected events, but an interactive, dynamic system where you and the universe engage in a harmonious dance to the rhythm of resonance. If you consistently maintain the frequency of peace, they replicate peace, not through blind belief, but through the formation of new molecular structures and cellular patterns. The body has its own profound intelligence, and it is always listening, always responding to the signals you send. When you start speaking to your body through the language of conscious breath, deliberate movement, restful pauses, and genuine gratitude, it understands that the old program has changed and begins to restructure itself accordingly. You don't necessarily have to believe it intellectually. You only have to practice it consistently. After approximately 3 weeks, most biological cycles begin to reorganize, and you will start to feel a profound lightness arise. This happens not because the external world has suddenly changed, but because you have stopped reacting to it in the same old, habitual way. This marks the beginning of energetic autonomy, where you are no longer passively pulled by chemical impulses, but instead learn to use them as conscious fuel for creation. When you truly understand the body's mechanisms, you stop blaming it for holding you back. Instead, you thank it for faithfully protecting you, and then you compassionately walk with it into the new, unknown future. From this point on, transformation is no longer a battle between conscious will and ingrained instinct, but a harmonious reconciliation between two integral parts of one unified system. The body learns to trust you, and you learn to listen to its subtle wisdom. Every breath, every heartbeat becomes a powerful reminder that you and your body are one, intimately co-creating this reality together. Once your biology updates, profound change becomes as natural and inevitable as water heating until it boils. You no longer need to force it, because everything unfolds according to a deeper, universal law. You only need to maintain consistency in your practice and keep your awareness wider and more expansive than your automatic reactions. This is the biology of freedom, where the body is no longer perceived as a prison, but as a sophisticated quantum instrument serving the highest aspects of consciousness. When you understand that every cell within you is an observing particle, and every thought a potent command, you begin to treat yourself with a new level of respect and reverence, not with force or harsh judgment, but with gentle, informed guidance, because you now know, intrinsically, that your body is listening and responding to your every intention in every single moment. Let this transformative journey be a harmonious blend of cutting-edge science and ancient meditation, of logical understanding and subtle sensation, of the rational mind and the intuitive heart. Then, instead of trying to escape yourself or your circumstances, you naturally become the gentle, masterful conductor of a biological orchestra, resonating with an entirely new frequency, and the profound sound you emit becomes the very rhythm of an entirely new, consciously created reality. When you observe an electron, it instantly chooses a position, collapsing from a wave of probability into a definite particle. But when no one observes it, it exists everywhere at once, in a state of pure potential. That fascinating phenomenon is not just a quirk of physics. It is the fundamental nature of existence itself. The way you look at the world is, quite literally, the way the world becomes for you. When you observe yourself through the limiting lens of lack, you inevitably collapse into a reality of scarcity and limitation. Conversely, when you consciously see yourself through the expansive frequency of abundance, you collapse into a reality of growth and expansion. Observation is never a neutral act. It is always, fundamentally, a command issued to the universe. Every thought you entertain, every glance you cast, every emotion you choose to feel is a precise measurement that actively determines the state of reality you are forming. That is precisely why two people can live in identical circumstances and yet experience two vastly different worlds. One sees abundant opportunity, while the other perceives only limitation, because they are observing through two distinctly different frequencies, two different filters of perception. You do not see reality as it truly is. You see reality as you are. The human eye does not simply record images like a camera. It converts light into complex electrical signals and transmits them to the brain. And the brain then interprets those signals through its vast archives of memory, deeply ingrained beliefs, and old, habitual patterns. Every time you look at something, you are not only receiving incoming information, you are simultaneously projecting your own stored information onto the scene. Reality is not merely a passive mirror reflecting you. It is an active screen displaying the image you are consistently broadcasting. Once you deeply understand this, you begin to recognize the astonishing power of your own consciousness. Observation is, in its essence, creation. You do not wait to see something in order to believe it. You actively believe in order to see it manifest. When you genuinely believe you are safe, Your brain sends harmonizing signals throughout your body. Your nervous system relaxes, hormones stabilize, and the world around you begins to respond with matching, supportive situations. Conversely, when you believe everything is against you, your heart contracts, your breath quickens, your energetic field emits powerful alarm signals, and you invariably attract experiences that confirm that belief. You become living proof of your own pervasive observation. This is not naive positivity or magical thinking. It is the physical, measurable mechanism of consciousness in action. Many people mistakenly think observing is a passive act, but in the quantum universe, observation is the active process of selecting which infinite possibility becomes real and tangible. Each time you think about yourself, you are conducting a profound double-slit experiment in your own life. You can choose to see yourself as a particle, isolated, limited by space and time, or as a wave, expansive, connected, without borders. The way you choose to see yourself fundamentally determines how energy arranges itself around you. Notice how some people enter a room, and the entire atmosphere feels lighter, more joyful. This is because they emit an open, expansive field of observation. They see potential and good in everyone, and that powerful gaze makes others instinctively rise to their highest selves. Others make a room feel heavy because they observe through a filter of skepticism, and their dense field suppresses brighter possibilities from unfolding. They come so you can consciously demonstrate your choice, that you choose awareness over unconscious reaction, that you choose unshakable trust over crippling doubt, that you choose to live in expansive freedom instead of returning to the familiar, albeit limited, cage you once knew. Each time you stand firm before such a test, your new, elevated frequency is reinforced by another layer of certainty, and gradually, your presence becomes so steady, so unwavering, that nothing external can truly shake it. The universe does not respond to your mere words. It responds to the feeling, an energetic frequency encoded in each look and thought you project. You can say aloud, "I am peaceful," but if your inner energy is contracted and anxious, the universe only hears and responds to contraction. So, to genuinely change reality, you do not begin with external action, but with internal perception, because every action is ultimately born from a particular way of seeing and interpreting the world. When you observe yourself through the limitations of the past, you confine your future to the narrow boundaries of what is already known and experienced. When you observe yourself through the expansive lens of pure potential, you immediately open the door to what has never been before, to entirely new possibilities. That is the fundamental difference between one who lives enslaved by memory and one who lives dynamically in possibility. One constantly reacts to life, the other actively creates it. Here, you discover, with profound joy, that the universe has never withheld anything from you. Everything you have ever wished for, imagined, or even thought impossible already exists in the quantum field as a blueprint of pure potential. And the only question left to answer is not whether it is real or even how it will manifest, but whether you are truly resonant with it. This is the pivotal shift from longing for something in the future to aligning with its frequency and living in its reality right now. That is the exact moment you move from merely being illuminated by an external light to becoming the one who actively holds and directs the light. Once you deeply understand that observation is inherently creative, you become fully responsible for every thought you entertain, because each thought is a precise measurement, each emotion a powerful command of collapse. And you are constantly, consciously or unconsciously, choosing which possibility will exist. You cannot stop observing, but you can always choose how you observe. You can choose to see the world as a relentless battlefield, or as a magnificent laboratory for the evolution of the soul. You can choose to see others as potential threats, or as profound mirrors reflecting the parts of you that seek understanding and integration. When your perspective changes, the energetic field shifts, and outcomes profoundly transform. Those who observe consciously do not run from negativity. They understand that negativity is simply a limited state of awareness. And as their awareness expands, it naturally dissolves and transmutes. Observation is, in its highest form, the art of silence. When you consciously refrain from labeling, from prematurely concluding, from judging, you intentionally keep the wave of potential uncollapsed. And in that state of quantum superposition, infinite possibilities continue to coexist openly. You do not force the world to conform to what you want. Instead, you open a sacred space for the world to reveal itself to you through a higher, more harmonious frequency. That is why, in profound meditation practices, they instruct you to just observe, do not interfere. Because when you truly observe without attachment or interference, you allow what is being seen to organically evolve and unfold, and that act alone inherently changes the outcome. Your true power does not lie in external control, but in aware, present consciousness. When you look at the world without the filters of fear, greed, or resistance, you return to your original role as the pure observer, and the pure observer is precisely the starting point of pure creation. Reality cannot resist a gaze that is truly free of control. It must, by universal law, adjust itself to match the frequency of peace and openness that you emanate. Remember, the universe does not hear prayers with ears. It reads frequencies through your state of observation. If you pray from a state of lack, you send out the powerful frequency of lack. If you give thanks as if you already possess what you desire, you send the undeniable frequency of abundance. Observation is the silent, ongoing prayer of consciousness. And every day, you are praying thousands of times through the way you look at yourself, at others, and at life itself. So, instead of merely saying, "I want to change," begin by seeing differently. Try observing yourself as someone actively blooming, not someone perpetually fixing themselves. Try seeing the world as an intelligent, responsive network, continuously responding to each beat of your heart, each intentional thought. And you will find that miracles are no longer rare, isolated occurrences, but the natural, inevitable result of a new way of seeing. Then, everything changes, not only within your perception, but in the very fabric of reality itself, because your consciousness has just issued a new command of collapse, and the universe immediately obeys. When you begin to consciously choose differently, your body does not quietly agree. It reacts. It has lived by the same emotional formula for years, and it deeply believes that is what life is. So, when you stop supplying it with familiar chemicals, the adrenaline, cortisol, and other neuropeptides associated with old emotional states, it instinctively thinks it is under threat. The restlessness, anxiety, and profound discomfort that inevitably arise when you initially start to change are not signs of failure. They are compelling proof that you are actively stepping out of the old, entrenched chemistry. Like a caffeine addict in the first days without coffee, you may feel foggy-headed, your head may ache, your mood may swing unpredictably because your biological system is experiencing a temporary withdrawal from the compounds it has depended on for so long. Your body is essentially asking, where are the usual hormones of fear, worry, and tension that I'm accustomed to? If you do not consciously understand this process, you will easily mistake the discomfort for a wrong path and rush back to the old self, just to feel safe and familiar again. But comfort does not always mean right, and unease does not always mean wrong. True biological change always comes with a period of trembling or dis-ease, not as a punishment, but as a necessary restructuring. Every cell, every neural connection, every biochemical reaction is learning how to exist without fear or old patterns as its primary fuel. You may find yourself suddenly tired or unusually silent, losing interest in what once excited you, unwilling to maintain heavy or draining conversations. And that, surprisingly, is a very good sign. When the body is no longer constantly fed by drama, anxiety, and adrenaline, it requires time to learn to live on peaceful energy, a lighter, yet far more sustainable and profound fuel. Most people unfortunately stop here because they cannot tolerate the emptiness or the unfamiliarity. They mistakenly think stillness means losing their drive or motivation, when in fact, it is the quiet, powerful charge before the entire system restarts and reboots. When an old energy pattern dissolves, there is a distinct space that opens up between two frequencies, and in that void, the mind can panic because it has nothing familiar to cling to. If you stay patient and do not instinctively run back to the old familiar habits, you will soon realize you are actively being recreated. Many neuroscientists refer to this as the phase of synaptic rewiring. Neurons that once connected along old habitual paths begin to separate and prune themselves, creating vital space for entirely new circuits to form. And it is this temporary, necessary disorder that often makes you feel strange, disoriented, or unlike yourself. In truth, if you can consciously pass through this period, typically a few weeks, you will witness your body begin to naturally adapt to the new, higher state. Your endocrine glands recalibrate, your heartbeat steadies, your breath deepens, your automatic reactions slow down, and you begin to feel a profound stability you never knew existed. This is the stability of a higher frequency, where energy flows naturally and effortlessly, without the need for constant strong stimulation or external validation. To help your body smoothly move through this crucial stage, you need two essential things: profound awareness and deep kindness. Awareness helps you clearly see that these internal reactions are not enemies, but rather the eloquent language of your biology, signaling that you are nearing a quantum leap in your evolution. Kindness allows you to nurture this delicate process gently, without force, without harsh judgment, but with unwavering compassion. Whenever your body trembles or feels resistant, breathe deeply. Place your hand gently on your chest and softly whisper, "I am safe. I am learning a new way to live." When you send this clear, reassuring message, the parasympathetic nervous system activates, stress hormones drop significantly, and the restructuring process flows far more smoothly and effectively. Do not think that talking to your body is meaningless or fanciful. Science has increasingly proven that cells respond directly to sound frequency and conscious intention. When you speak softly with genuine compassion, those healing sound waves travel through the water in your tissues, creating powerful, harmonizing vibrations. Transformation then ceases to be an internal battle and naturally becomes a profound collaboration. You and your body walk together through the withdrawal from the old, consciously establishing a new, coherent emotional system. This vital process often takes about 30 days. Typically, the first 10 days involve withdrawal, the next 10 days are about reconstruction, and the final 10 days are dedicated to integration. If you stay conscious and committed through this entire period, your body will begin to treat peace and balance as its new baseline. It will no longer frantically seek intense, dramatic emotions to feel alive, but rather seek profound balance and coherence to feel truly real and authentic. Then, everything inside you begins to soften, to align, and that is when your energy field becomes transparent and clear. When your energy is clear and coherent, you no longer need to exert effort to manifest or attract. You don't have to visualize or force attraction, because that steady, high-frequency state itself is the most powerful magnetic field of creation. The field of peace, quietly and precisely, draws matching experiences to you. You no longer need to prove, affirm, or beg, because your entire biology has become a living prayer, a constant transmission. You are transmitting the clear signal that you have returned to your true center, no longer fighting life, but moving in profound harmony with it. When the body reaches this new coherent state, you will notice that what once scared you loses its power entirely. Situations that used to trigger you now pass like a gentle breeze, barely ruffling your internal calm, and you will realize that external control is no longer something you desperately chase, because you have inherently become the natural state of control through your inner mastery. When consciousness and biology align in this way, you do not need to make any effort to become different, because you already are different, fundamentally transformed. That is the moment your energetic field reaches full coherence. Every single cell vibrates in perfect harmony. Your heart and brain synchronize. Emotions flow clearly and gracefully, and miracles begin to appear, not because someone outside grants them, but because your entire system is ready and aligned to receive them. Change is no longer a theoretical concept. It has become a tangible biological architecture, rebuilt from within. Looking back, you will observe that nothing outside has truly changed, except for how your body responds to it. Everything external remains the same, yet you are no longer the same person meeting it. And that, truly, is the deepest definition of freedom. You do not need to escape the world. You only need to stop reacting to it in the old, habitual way. Your body becomes your most powerful ally, no longer pulling you back to the past, but walking with you confidently into an expansive future. Every cell within you becomes a living witness of your awakening, and every breath you take is a powerful affirmation that you have stepped beyond old programming. When transformation reaches this profound stage, you no longer seek change. You are change. Every reaction, every feeling, is now compelling evidence of a silent, powerful biological revolution unfolding within you. And once you understand that, you will never fear any tremor or discomfort again, because you know each resistance of the body is simply another profound lesson in expansion, another essential step toward living fully in the frequency your soul has already chosen for itself.